What's up? Guava Greenhouse Lounge family. How's everybody doing tonight? It's good to see you. Wanted to have a quick discussion on a news report that I just saw on something we touched on yesterday. I'm telling you, some folks just I'm not, how can I put it? I'm not trying to wake nobody up. I'm just trying to ask you to think. I just want people to think, because sometimes we don't think. We so used to stuff working out the way it work out on TV, because you really never been in these type of situations. uh you just never been in these type of situations. So it's kind of like, I just want to put something on your mind. Maybe it'll help. I don't know. So what's going on, everybody? It's good to see you. I just want to put something on everybody's mind. Let me bring you a little bit close to me. What's up, B Rich? What's up, man? Thank you, brother. Thank you. um Hi, she is Sunshine. Hey, Juan Perez. I talked about something yesterday. I did a long video yesterday because I had to just get some stuff off my mind. And you know what? It did a lot. It did a lot. I didn't want to do a long video, but it did show me a lot. Um, and I feel better too with all the stuff going on. Uh, hey, Britt, here's my question to you. I asked a lot of people, um, do you own a firearm? And the reason I ask that is because with all the stuff in the climate of the world right now going on, time for me to do some bow fishing. With all the stuff going on, I just want to see. I understand some people don't believe in firearms. I just want to, number one, know why. And then I want to put your head in a whole nother scenario. I'm not a gun nut. I'm just, I've seen some stuff, and I just know if it wasn't for what I was carrying with me at the time, I might not even be here to this day. Um, I had another report, because we always thinking about defending ourselves from other human beings, right? We're always thinking, and when people don't carry firearms or they don't believe in firearms, usually it's about something happened to one of their loved ones, a family member or something. It's always something like that that traumatized them. But it's also the ignorance of it all. We do that amongst ourselves. The reason why we don't get along as different races is because we don't even understand one another. Sometimes people don't get along just for the simple fact of it's just pure ignorance. You don't even want to know the other culture. Well, that's the same thing with firearms. For instance, if you were from another race and you don't want to deal with this other race because you feel a certain way about this race, you got some kind of weird stigmatism about this other race, right? Have you ever thought that other race, this just that the race of people does not make all of the people's spirit bad? You know, you had one or two bad spirits you was dealing with. You didn't deal with a race of people. You deal with some evil spirits. You know what I'm saying? And we don't never even see it that way. You think you was dealing with a man's melanin or lack thereof. You wasn't dealing with that. That ain't the person that did the crime to you. That's not the person that did that to you. That's that evil spirit committed that crime on you or your family member. And then we want to blame it on a whole race of people. That's where we'll never get over racism. What's up, Dan Permaculture Food Forest? We'll never get over it because we keep blaming a whole group of people for what a handful of people did on both, like dudes say, I don't like, black folks because I got robbed by a black dude 3 times when I lived in such and such city. You didn't get robbed by a black dude. You got robbed by an evil spirit. Now, how to describe what body that evil spirit is in, you can describe the body that it was in. That's just like when you get a hit and run driver, right? Think, when you get a hit and run driver, you don't know what the driver looked like. The first thing the 911 operator asks you is what kind of car were they in? It was a red sedan. How many doors? 4. What did the passenger look like? I don't know. It had tinted windows. People ain't no different, man. You can describe the vessel that the evil spirit was in that did the hit and run on you or your family, right? You can describe the vessel, you can describe the body, but that person's evil spirit is the one that did the criminal act on you or your family member. You can't blame a whole race of people for something one evil spirit did. And that's where we messed up. The reason I'm touching on that, and I'm gonna touch on something else, is because I was contacted by several of those terrorists. See, I'm gonna tell you this too. And I'm gonna put this out here, and I'm not gonna bite my tongue about it no more. We stop calling them white supremacists. Stop calling them white supremacists. That's not what they are, because they're not supreme to anybody. See, in a way, we give them a title that's actually royal. You ain't a white supremacist. You ain't supreme to nobody, or you wouldn't be acting the way you are. The only time people act like that is when they're inferior and they're afraid of losing ground from where they already or used to stand. It's not white supremacist. You're a terrorist. So let's change the verbiage up on that, okay? They're not white supremacists. Stop calling them white supremacists. You're not supreme to nobody. You're a terrorist. So let's call it like we see it. You invoke terror amongst the community and in society to the point you make the national news lately more frequently than not. You're not a white supremacist. You're a terrorist. You don't see nobody else down there marching on at the big house. You don't see them busting in nothing. You don't see none of them doing none of that. None of them threatening to kill people for no good reason. Just going into a community talking about something you gonna kill people. No, it is not even those 3 letters after before the L. It ain't the 3 letters before the L. No, you're a terrorist. I'm not even going to give your little club or your gang a name. You're a terrorist. So when we start talking about the war on terror, stop thinking about dudes that look like me just with a head wrap on and sandals. Let's stop doing that. Let's stop doing that. Let's start talking about people that's talking about killing masses of people. You're a terrorist. If you walk into a movie theater and you start shooting people up, you're a terrorist. You're not some kid that took a wrong turn somewhere in life. No, you're a terrorist. They shouldn't put you in regular population in prison. They should take you to Guantanamo Bay where they do with the other dudes. You're a terrorist. So I was contacted by several terrorists after the video yesterday. Again, I'm going to say it. No, you're not a white supremacist. You're a terrorist. You're not supreme to anybody where you have to threaten people's lives so it'll make you feel better. Like I said yesterday, the same thing in a relationship, right? Same thing in a relationship. If you got to force a woman to love you by beating her eye in, that's not love. You didn't force her to love you. You forced her to be scared of you. She's afraid of you. She still don't love you. She's just afraid of you. So when people have to do that and invoke terror just to get some kind of respect, you still really don't get the respect. You don't get the respect. You just have somebody's fear. You still don't have their respect. You can scream and yell at people all you want to. You still don't have their love. You still don't have their respect. You have their fear. And that's it. So, with that being said, I'm going to switch gears because the terrorists had a lot to say about what I had to say yesterday about them being terrorists. You are what you are, man. I didn't even dog you. I just told you what you are. You want to be called everything, and those people want to be called everything in the book except for what they are. Because they think a terrorist, and most people, the media done painted our brain to think that a terrorist is my color. No matter what. The first thing we think in your head, you ain't got to say it out loud because you ain't got to be honest with yourself. First thing the media we done grew up thinking when we hear the word terrorist, they look like me. So, anyway, off of that, the title of this video is I Got Shotgun. I call shotgun. I'm saying that for a simple reason. Here you go. The people that's scared to own a firearm, we got terrorists walking around threatening people. They are telling you they don't like you. And guess what? It ain't just they don't like people that's my color. They don't like you for your religious beliefs. So let's get that straightened out. They don't like me because of my golden tone, but they don't like you just because of who you worship at night. They're terrorists. So if you think that dude is going to help you in a jam, he's not. Because he's going to see what kind of little necklace you're wearing and what kind of little hat that you're wearing right here. He might see that. Yeah. And he's going to do the same thing to you that he wants to do to me. So, if you don't believe in owning a firearm because you think everybody that's your same skin tone is coming to help you, you're sadly mistaken. Those people are demons, they're devils, they're evil, they're wicked. Those people mean nobody, no harm. They don't even love themselves. They don't even love themselves. So, with that being said, if you don't want a handgun, at least get a rifle. The first gun, I've always told people, the first firearm anybody should own because of the price, because of the parts, easy to fix, easy to work on, easy to mod, multi-purpose tool. Everybody, the first thing you should get is a 12 gauge shotgun. Just a shotgun, 12 gauge, 10 gauge, 20 gauge, I don't care. Everybody on the planet should own one. It ain't just for protection. It's also for hunting. It's for all kind of things. It's for breaching. It's for breaching. Thank you, Gigi. It's for breaching. It's for hunting. It's for all kind of stuff. Everybody should own a shotgun. Just because. A 410, that'll work. Everybody should own one. And you know what? It could just sit in your closet. If you're scared of them, you don't want to do nothing with it. It could sit in your closet until the day comes where you actually need it. It don't have to be lethal. You can load it with salt. You can load it with rubber pellets. You can, if you don't want to take another life and that's not in your repertoire, it's all kind of things you can do. You can load it with salt. You can load it with rubber pellets. You can load it with anything that's non-lethal. You can load it with wads of bubble gum if you wanted to, literally. A 12 gauge shotgun, you can put anything in there. You can put a roll of nickels in that mug. You can do anything. And here's the other thing, they're easy to reload, and you can stuff a 12 gauge shell with anything, nickels, pennies, BBs, rocks. You can do anything, and it still will perform fairly well. So even when ammo is out and ammo is low, like now, you can still like, listen, I'm gonna just start picking up these metal BBs off the train tracks or something. All right. Well, that's one thing. Here's another one. I just got a report, and I meant to bring my iPad out here, but I left it at the house because I wanted to show you the report. But this is what I want you to see. I want you to go and Google it. And um, if you have um, two devices with you at this very moment, do me a favor. Um, Google, they just saw a black bear in South Carolina here with me. Black bears. So when I was out here yesterday, I had a black bear could be anywhere around me. A black bear is just, this is why, because we've cut down so many of their trees, we've cut down so many of their food sources that now they're starting to come in our backyards where bears don't be. Bears don't belong. Want to hear something else too? So are alligators. They're starting to find alligators right here. That's why I don't hang out here too much no more. I don't come out on my island dark, and I don't come out here all whistling, looking up at the sky. We got gators coming up from Florida. We got gators coming from Florida right here in my water. I live on the water. So with all of this weird migration because of this weather, you don't even have to believe in climate change for some reason. I don't understand why you don't. But if you don't believe in climate change, look at the migration of the animals. They're starting to go in places like it's certain birds that's not supposed to be here in South Carolina at certain times. These geese ain't supposed to stay here in this much abundance all year. It's supposed to tone down in the wintertime, but every time I do a video, what y'all see? Geese walking around me, right? Tons of them. They're not supposed to be here. They're supposed to be up north. So now with the weather patterns being as screwed up as they are, and the storm system, and all these floods and all of these hurricanes is starting to wash animals here that don't belong here. Certain kinds of snakes, I'm gonna show you that video right after this video. And certain kinds of animals don't belong. Crocodiles, alligators, they don't belong here. I ain't gonna say they don't belong here. It's not typical to see them here. But we have gators right here in South Carolina now, walking up on golf courses. It's normal for people in Florida. You know, all my family in Florida, GG's Natural, Eco Neighbor, Starduster 2, all my people down in Florida, it's normal for y'all. But for us to have a gator just swimming around in our normal backyard lakes is jaw-dropping. Now we got bears. We got bears being seen. I already don't come outside without a handful of shells. I don't come outside without a handful of shells. And now we got this. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, tell my son, don't take the trash out tonight. Just wait till the morning. If we miss the garbage man, I'll take it to the dump or something, man. Nah. We sitting here messing around with black bears. So what you gonna do if you come outside to let your dog go use the bathroom, or you let your dog out, or you taking out the trash? What's your plan? Is it to go in the house and lock the door behind you? Because they go through those real easy. I need you to go look at videos on bear attacks in the urban places. It'll blow your mind. You will think half of y'all probably got those slide glass doors, right? Those French doors, slide glass doors to go out onto your patio. How many people got those slide glass doors at your apartment or on your patio? Or you got French doors, two doors to open up, which is the weakest door ever made by man. If you got them doors, you might as well just put some honey on the floor on the welcome mat, because that bear is going to walk right through that without even having to stand up. He don't even got to stand up. And you can't do nothing about it. Exactly. Everybody got one, right? Everybody got one of them doors with just a whole bunch of little square windows on it. That's not even a door. I don't even know why we do that. You would have a door with about 15, 20 doggone little window panes on it. I don't even, that's even horrible for criminals. So I'm going to say this: if you're even thinking about purchasing a firearm, if you don't know which way to turn, I'm going to tell you. I normally don't do this, but I'm going to say your first bet, you should just go start looking at a reasonably priced 12 gauge shotgun. My first choice would be between the price and between the reliability, between everything would be go get. I would start with a Mossberg, um, not a 590. I ain't gonna show it. I ain't gonna show it. I would go get a Mossberg pump. Don't get an automatic, because you don't even want to know how automatic shotguns is a little tricky at first. The 940 ain't out yet. Not the 940 Pro. I'm looking for the 940 Tactical when it come out. Get a Maverick 88. Go get a Remington 870. Remington 870. Mossberg 500. Those are, you did not make a bad purchase. You did not make, and listen, stick with a pump. Stick with the pump. I ain't even gonna say no 22, Richard. I ain't gonna say no 22. The reason why I say I'm not gonna say a 22, even though I love 22s and I got plenty of them, the reason why I'm not gonna say that is because we're dealing with too many different things. A 22 should be your second guess. Your next purchase should be a Ruger 1022. Your first, if it was me and I was telling somebody what should be the first firearm they purchase, I would say a Mossberg 500. Somebody said the Mossberg Maverick 88 is the same as the 500, just without all the bells and whistles, but that mug is reliable and it's time proven. I wouldn't even go with a Benelli first, because when people see the price of a Benelli, people already don't want to purchase a firearm and they're scared of them, or they think they're ridiculous. I'm not going to send them to go get a $2,500 shotgun, because then they'll see that. Now, nope, I'm not going to send them to get a Mossberg Shockwave, because that takes some training. If you don't know nothing about a shotgun and you hold a Mossberg Shockwave in your hand, you're going to knock your teeth out, because you don't know what you're doing. Something needs to be shouldered, and you need to know how to aim it. I would not have nobody with a pistol grip pump or a Shockwave whatsoever. I would not start anybody out on those two things if you don't know what you're doing. I wouldn't start them out on a bullpup either. I wouldn't start them out on a 12 gauge bullpup, because 12 gauge bullpup take a little less learning. Even if you come from a normal pump shotgun and you're going into a bullpup, that takes some training. You got to actually train yourself on how to load this thing now. I have one. Don't get it. I wouldn't have nobody start out on an AR style platform of 12 gauge, which I do have. I wouldn't do it, because clearly, if you just starting out, you do not have a AR. So that's an AR platform. So if you don't know how to even maneuver an AR platform, you don't know how to clear jams or nothing, or reload an AR, I'm not going to start you off on an AR platform 12 gauge. That's utterly ridiculous. I'm not in this. I'm not in this to show how big my nuggets are. I'm trying to give a little advice for people that they're on the fence about, should I get a firearm, and if so, which one should I get. I'm not trying to poke my chest out right now and be like, yeah, this is what you need to do. You need to go out there and get a Sega 12. And we ain't doing that. That ain't what I'm doing. I'm trying to tell people the simplest. Okay, if you go out and get that Maverick 88 now, even during these times where inflation and prices is through the roof, a Maverick 88 is something probably like 150, 150, 180, you know? You could get a Rock Island Armory, which still is time proven. You know, people don't like to talk about it, but them Rock Island Armory 12 gauges is solid. Rock Island Armory, you can get one of them around 150 bucks, 130, even now. Reliable, test proven. Um, when you start moving up into Mossberg 590s, Mossberg 590A1s, um, uh, Benelli, um, Berettas, when you start moving up into those, then you you done overstepped your bounds. You need some experience when you start moving up into them Benellis. When you start talking about automatic shotguns, you really should be shooting for a while before you start. If you still learning on a pump and you don't even know how to work a pump, you need to rest on an automatic right now. The reason why I wouldn't buy, listen, I wouldn't buy a High Point t-shirt. I'm talking about, oh, somebody said can't mess with a High Point. I wouldn't buy a High Point pair of shoelaces. I'm talking about real stuff because I only buy things that I know I can depend on. When it comes to my life, if I gotta grab one of these, it depends. That means my life is in danger. I don't want to be like, how do you work this? Or why ain't it shooting? What's going on? I don't want to do that. I want to know it works. I want to know it works. Now, everybody that has firearms, some of us are collectors. Some of us get that line blurred because I can blur the line too. I'm slash collector slash, you know, I got what I need. But I got my collection one place, but I got what I need in another. I don't dilly and dally with the stuff that I really got to, I know gonna save my life. So, true story. If you're on the fence about what firearm you should get, I would go, personally, I would go with a Mossberg 500 or a Maverick 88. Maverick 88 will run you about 150, 180. A Mossberg 500 gonna run you somewhere around 300, 400. You know what I'm saying? They both do the same thing. Chock, chock, boom. Once you learn those controls, then you can start dibbling and dabbling. But we talking about safety. And this is the reason why I'm actually going to, this is why I'm talking about it. Y'all know I stopped talking about firearms and I stopped making suggestions. I canceled all of that. But this is the reason. Is because every time I go to the gun store, there is less and less and less and less stuff on the shelves. Every time I go to the beekeeping supply store like I did today, there is nothing in there. You got a dude out back literally building boxes, building frames, building his own material from scratch because he can't get them no more. So he's out there with a whole wood shop that he had to build so he can bring in beekeeping stuff. So every time I go to a gun store, it's just a bunch of glass cases everywhere. And the only thing they have on the walls is stuff that's for display, you know, World War II antiques and stuff like that. They really don't have anything. You might have an upper and no lowers. You might have a bunch of lowers and no uppers. You might have an upper and a lower and no bolt carrying group. You, this place is, listen, the reason I'm saying this is because even if you still on the fence, you may want to go and grab you one because you may not have an option to later for two reasons. You may not have an option to purchase a firearm because number one, there aren't any. They're slim pickings. Number two, you may not be able to buy a firearm coming up real soon because they may make it illegal. And then everybody else is grandfathered in. The people that already have them, if everything go right, because they talking about taking people's stuff. But if everything go right, you may be able to get grandfathered in, and whoever got them, and they can pass them on to their loved ones when they pass away, and that's the only way that can stay in the family. If that don't happen, then the government can quickly take those because they've been illegal like 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. So right now, we all need to be thinking about, oh, handguns scare me. I don't know how to hold them. Everybody can hold a rifle. If you can sweep a floor, you can hold a rifle. That's another thing with ammo. When it comes to ammo, you can find 12 gauge even at the worst of times. When this mess really hit, there was no handgun and rifle ammo. There was none, none. And everybody like myself, cause I do reload. Guess what? I couldn't reload either. I always thought, oh, I'm gonna learn how to reload. So if it all go down, I'll always have ammo. No, you won't, because it wasn't no primers. It wasn't no powder. It was nothing. None of the stuff you need to reload. I got the machine, I got the shells, I got everything. But you can't reload no more if you ain't got no primers. So my reloading idea was like stuck in the mud. Like, never thought of that. Life showed me that. This whole mess we going through showed me that. So while we still have a chance and we still have the constitutional right to own one, you should own one. You should own one. Didn't say you got to use it, but you should have it before they take it away from you. Because if they take that right away from you, what you gonna do? You won't even have a way to fight to get that right back, or fight to keep them from taking the right, because that's what that's for. So I'm just here today. I got a little spread on the table. I was gonna show it, but I was like, maybe not. Um, but here I have a Mossberg Shockwave, the one you always hear in the background. I got a Rock Island Armory 12 gauge. I got another Mossberg 500. This is my baby. I've had this, oh my God, since I was young. I got a Beretta. I don't have the Benelli on the table, but I also have a Benelli 870. What's in the car? Remington 870, a Benelli M4. What is out there? I can't remember what I. All of this is in different parts of my life, so, and I'm trying to remember. Oh, I even got a Stevens. A Stevens. I got a Stevens because they just as trustworthy as a Rock Island Armory. A Stevens. Yeah, 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 yeah. And I got several others, and they're all around places I need them to be. If and they're not threatening. Yeah, that Stevens a monster, ain't it? What's her name? Muda or Musta? Mauda? I'm sorry about butchering your name. Listen, no, Stevens is solid. It ain't nothing but a 870, a Remington 870. Everything about it, everything is interchangeable with a 870. Everything about that Stevens is. So I'm gonna tell you guys, um if you on a fence about owning a firearm, I'm just gonna put this on your mind so you can just do a little research and check it out yourself. Um, I got a Marlin 3032. That was my first hunting gun. I still got it to this very day. The old one, not one of these new ones. You know what? After who took over? Who took over? They plant. Who bought Marlin? I can't remember. Mine is old. Oh, I wish I could remember the model. Was it 13? No, 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 no. I'm thinking of Beretta. Anyway, that's. Don't get me talking about guns. I go all the way in. Don't. Would you say websites? Just type it in and it'll come up. Okay, because right now I can't give you a website because everybody really don't have anything. If you Google these names, something's going to pop up and it's going to tell you a price, and you can check and see if they got it. So that's the part you're going to have to do your research on, because me pointing fingers and telling you where to get stuff, it's not going to happen these days, right? So I didn't want to make this video long at all. I just wanted to let you guys in and let you know how my video went yesterday with all the terrorists that came in. And I also wanted to let you know that now we have alligators and bears right here in South Carolina. And you may have to really research which one you need to buy. Now, I didn't say want to buy. I said which one you need to purchase. Because right now, we may end up losing the right, and we may end up there may I think before we even lose the right to own a firearm, I think we will run out of them first. I think uh no, it ain't no, you know what, that's nonsense. We ain't gonna talk about that. I'm gonna remove that new bird flu stuff. Remove that. I'm sorry about that. No disrespect, but it's always some kind of propaganda to make you stop doing something you're supposed to be doing. Look, think about it. Everybody purchasing chickens now, right? Everybody purchasing chickens, all of a sudden it's a new bird flu. Come on, man. Every time, every time, think about this. Every time everybody start gardening, what they say, there's some kind of new salmonella sweeping the land. Some poison is tearing up all the lettuce and stuff, right? It's always something, man. I don't believe in none of that crap. I've Listen, I've had chickens through 2 other bird flu epidemics, supposedly. I've had chickens that long. Give me a break. So I ain't gonna lie to you. It's all news ain't news, man. All news ain't real. Some news is literally propaganda. It's like a maze, and they guiding the rat to the cheese. And that's what they do to us. Every time they see us doing what we supposed to do, when everybody started arming themselves and realizing that the government does not have our best interests at heart, and everybody started really truly digging in, arming themselves, new laws started coming out. Oh, you can't own this, you can't own that. Oh, it was a shooting at the movie theater, so now everybody can't have this. It's always shootings at the movie theaters. There's always shootings going on. But once they realize that everybody can actually bear arms and defend themselves, that make it real easy for them to do whatever or say whatever they want to say or do to you. I'm not going for that, man. So if anything, like, I thank you, Jonathan G. For anything, I'm gonna tell you this, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Even if you don't like firearms, because I got a lot of those comments yesterday too, it's your right. It is literally your right to own one. So you don't want to exercise your right? Do you understand how special that right is? That's the part I want to get through to people. It's as if not more important than your freedom of speech. This the other thing you don't understand, how special that amendment is. That constitutional right is rare. It's like finding a pearl while you swimming on the beach. It's literally that special because no other country's got the right to do that. Thank you, Donna, Divine Prepping. Thank you. No other country got the right to just have a shotgun in their house for just in case. You don't know how special that is until it's taken away from you. Thank you, Zach Price. What's going on, my man? What's going on? You don't understand how important that right is. If you don't care about your Second Amendment right being taken, you might as well give them the rest of them too, because now they truly can take them. Your right to a fair attorney, your right to stay silent, all the rights that you got, your civil rights, all of that, you can might as well give it all up. If you stop fighting, listen, family, if you stop fighting for one right, for one, it's kind of like the commandments, really. If you stop fighting for one, the rest of them ain't gonna help you. The rest of them is washed away. You know, it's like, yeah, I go to church every week, and I praise God every week, but you be keeping murdering people. That was a bad example, but you get what I'm saying. If you let them have one, what's the saying? Give them an inch and they take a mile, right? Give them an inch and they'll take a mile. If you think you let one go, listen, family, I'm gonna tell you how important this right is. I'm gonna tell you how important this right is. Give me a second. I'm gonna tell you how important this right is. Your Second Amendment right is so important. If they take away this right, any of them, really, they literally had to fight tooth and nail for the last 400 years to get rid of the lynching law. They've been trying to hold the lynching. You know how many times in the last 16 years or more that has been on the ballot to get rid of the lynching law? Do you even know what the lynching law is? That means they got a law to say, man, I don't like you too much. I could string you up in a tree. Why did that go to the House floor and was thumbed down? What kind of people is supposed to be protecting us? Now, listen to me. What kind of people is supposed to be protecting us? If those people for all these years, just even the young folks, even if you've been around for 20 years, they've been, what's false, Maycat 44? All these years, they've been thumbing down that. They've been like, nah, we gonna leave that one. Why? Why was that one so hard to get rid of? But those the people supposed to be protecting you, right? So if you get rid of one right, we gonna be back in that chair again. We gonna be right back where we started from. Because now, like, hey, we took that right, so we gonna take another one. And once we take that right away from them, we gonna take another one, and then add one. I I need to do more research on that, my friend, before I let that fly. Okay. So here's the deal. Even if you don't like them, you still got the right. While you still got the right and we still have supply, you need to have at least one good one in your house. And this the other thing that baffles my mind before I get off. Thank you, that guy from Texas. This is the thing that baffles me from the beginning to the end. Do you understand owning one of these is the only way we survived through anything? I'm talking about everybody. I'm talking about everybody. Not, it ain't got no color, no race. I'm talking about everybody. If you can't hunt, you die. If you can't feed your family, you die. And see, the thing about growing a garden, your garden don't always prosper. Just like sometimes your meat, you can't find nothing to hunt, you can't catch no fish, you can grow some lettuce and stuff, right? You can eat some herbs. That goes both ways. Just because you grow a garden don't mean that it's always going to be healthy for you either. Simple. Don't just corner yourself in one area of trying to survive or survival it. Why would you do that to yourself? Without a bow and arrow, without a firearm, you and without a garden, you're gonna starve. The only reason you're here today watching me, the only reason that you're here today watching me is because somebody fought for your right to do it with one of these. They didn't get in no fist fight about this. People had to cause bloodshed to give you the right to do this. Now, I need you to be honest with yourself, not me. Go and look at some of these other countries. They don't have that right. Look, I'm not going to name off some of them because some of them places, they'll come holler at me. Some of them countries, dictatorships, they can do whatever they want to their people. It's one country over there, if you have too many daughters, and they don't nobody care. It's like, no big deal, because that's the law. So imagine if they just up and start making laws like that. Because guess what? They can. They can. Look what they're doing now. They had a lynching law. So they can come up with any rules they want to. And if they pass the bill, it's a law. So what's going to keep you from telling them, no, you can't take my daughter? What's going to keep you from doing it? Put them up, put them up, put them up, put them up. That's what's going to shit. That's what's going to keep you from telling them they can't take your kids and your wife? Man, I'm just trying to put something on to you. Just so you know. Just so you know what's going on. I just want to put your head in a mind frame of you're not as safe as you think you are. You're not as safe as you even want to believe that you are. All it takes is one thing to happen at your household to let you realize that you're not as safe as you think you are. Somebody can come break in your house. Do me a favor and Google how long does it take from your local, no, even better. Yeah, how long does the average, I'm trying to word this right. What's the average time it takes before a squad car gets to your house? And then turn around and say, what's the average time does it take for an ambulance to get to your house? Because you got to talk to the dispatcher, time wasted. Remembering the number, hoping you buy a phone, time wasted. See, all of that time being wasted that you could have been handling business. That's your right. That's your right. And you saying, I don't want to have nothing to do with that. You giving criminals and thieves and rapists and murderers and monsters, you giving them power over you because I promise you they got one. All criminals ain't on drugs. I promise you, a lot of these boys run up in your house strapped. You think it's about to be a Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris fight in the living room? You will get spread out like jelly if you keep thinking that kind of. We watch too much TV. We watch too much TV. So I'm just gonna leave here and tell y'all right now, if it was me, that's right, be your own first responder. Learn CPR and everything else you need to do to preserve life. Purchase everything you need to do to try to preserve life as much as you can. So, do me a favor. If it was me, if it was my daughter, if it was my daughter that I'm giving this advice to, my baby, I would say, honey, out of all the stuff that I have, I would give her, if it was me talking to my daughter, I would give my daughter from my collection a Mossberg 500, and I would give her a Glock 19. That's what I would give my daughter, period. Because those are the simplest things to operate. Both of those are as simple as lighting a firecracker. Simple, effective, battle proven, time proven. Guess what? Glocks are ugly. You got to have a thing for a Glock. And I got a thing for them. And after a while, they started looking pretty to you like that old prom date. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Travel Nurse Prepper. Thank you so much. Glock, I never wanted one back in the day because they were so doggone ugly. But it's like after a while, man, you kind of fall in love with them, and they ain't ugly to you no more. They ain't ugly to you no more. You start seeing little details in a Glock, like, oh, I like your dimples when you smile, you know. That's a Glock to me. Oh, yeah, I know you. I ain't never looked and seen your little freckles, you know. You start seeing the little battle wounds. Oh, this happened to me one time. I was going down the alley. We ain't got to talk about it right now, girl. But that Glock, it's going to always be good to you. That Mossberg 500 is going to always be good to you. Them is two things. Listen, when you ever look on any gun channel, or if you look at any video, when you have a catastrophic failure of a Glock 19 or a Mossberg 500, it's rare. It's rare, and people be like, and some of those, propaganda again, because some of those is being paid by a whole nother company like, yeah, I didn't like this, so I bought this. You got to be careful. Yep, Jonathan G, all mine is Gen 3. I got one Gen 4, one Gen 4. But the rest, I stick with 3. Reliable, reliable. If it was me giving my daughter what she need to protect herself, and I have Mossberg 500 and a Glock 19, period. You know why? Another reason? Both of those things right there, out of all the stuff I got, if I'm bugging out, if I'm leaving, both of those is in my bag. Both of those is in my backup. And I'm going to tell you why. Because they're versatile. They're not just powerful. They're just not time proven. They're just not battle proven. Both of those are battle proven, time proven, but they're also versatile. You can put anything in, really, Ruth? You can put anything in your, you know what, Ruth? You could put anything in your 12 gauge and fire that thing out and be effective with it. And with a Glock, it's so many interchangeable parts. You can turn a Glock 26, which is a baby Glock, you can turn a Glock 26 into a Glock 19. You can turn a Glock 19 into put a 30 round mag in it. You can put a drum in it. You can turn a Glock 26 that only hold, I can't remember now, 10 rounds, and make a Glock 26 hold 30 rounds. Now you can also take those Glock magazines and use them in other ones. You can take that same magazine, so you don't gotta keep buying a whole bunch of different stuff. You could take that same equipment that you got for this Glock and put it in this Glock, and in this Glock, and in this Glock, and in this Glock, and in this Glock. So you can keep buying a bunch of different Glocks. Mind you, some is different, but most of them, they all use the same magazines. And then you can still use those same magazines on certain other companies because they're so flawless. They, instead of that company making their own proprietary magazine, they said, no, we're going to stick with the Glock magazine. So we're going to literally buy a little bit of stock in Glock and have them send over their magazines because they're so flawless. Go do your research. I can't make this up. Thank you, Dow. It's companies out here that won't even make their own magazines. They're like, I'm gonna go with a Glock mag. This made this wonderful new platform at SHOT Show. Wonderful new platform. But we using Glock mags though. That's because everybody got hundreds of Glock mags already in your stash, and you ain't got to go out buying a whole bunch of new weird mags that you don't know if it's gonna work, and some of them might be junk, the plastic, the feed lips, everything is garbage. Those Glocks don't quit. So I'ma let that go. So family, any questions? We got 5 minutes. 5 minutes, and I'm literally gonna leave in 5 minutes. Don't give up your right before I'm done. Don't give up your right. Don't give up your right. And you might want, if you own a fence about purchasing a firearm, I would go with, you see that? I would go with Glock 19, Mossberg 500s. If that's your starter pack, that would be, let me back that up. One more I got thrown in there. Glock 19, I just told you what I said. You can pick whatever you want with Fielder. You can pick whatever you want. I'm picking exactly, I told you what I would give my daughter. It's 3 things now. Mossberg 500, Glock 19, Ruger 1022. Flawless. Flawless. Time proven, battle proven, hunting proven, all of them. Any questions before I go? We got 4 minutes. Have you ever made your own ammo? Yes. If so, do you prefer to make your own or just purchase? It depends on how much time I got. Affordable, long gun, safe. That's a long story. You will have to do your research. And it depends on how safe you trying to make it. You know, do you got children? Do you want to be able to get into it easy? Because the prices go all over the place depending on how you got your setup. Do you want your setup where you can just hurry up and get into it? That's gonna cost you. Do you need a key? That's a lot cheaper. Do you want a combination? A little bit more money. Do you want a thumbprint? A little bit more money. It goes on and on. That's all over the place. Thank you, Precious SoCal Gardner. There are laser guns that shoot out 2 laser guns. I don't know what that meant. 20 gauge, a good choice. Yes, it is. What does that mean? I don't believe in firearms. I don't know. I didn't say it. A lot of different people said it. They don't believe in it. I don't know what that, I couldn't answer that. To your point, a company told me that they build their PCC around a Glock 33 round mag. I, I can't make this up. Anybody from the gun community is watching me right now. They know I'm telling the truth. What shotgun ammo? You got to do your own research. You just don't pick a shotgun ammo. You pick one that, what do you need it for? That's the thing why shotgun ammo is so wonderful, because you can pick whatever. What are you going to do? Hunt quail? Hunt duck? Hunt moose? Hunt deer? All of those you could just keep picking different shells. Well, same shell, 12 gauge, with a different load in it. All of that, from bird shot, double aught, buck, slugs, all of that is all right there. And you can load them in different ways. Say, look, I'm going to hit him with the bird shot, then I'm going to come with the slug, then I'm going to hit him with some double aught. All of that's different. I'm going to leave it. So, I'm just letting you know. That's why I love 12 gauge, because you can put anything in that thing and it'll be effective. It'll get the job done. No, that wasn't a swan. That was a blue herring. They bigger than swans. They're the size of, like, look, small size of small airplanes. If you can see that, it's a lot of blue herrings down in Florida too, but we got about 5 of them on my lake right here. Model 870 Remington is much more reliable. No, it's not. It's no more reliable than a Mossberg. Listen, some people like ketchup, some people like mustard. They're both battle proven. They're both battle proven. You can't say one is better than the other one, because they ain't. That's been a long going battle for years. That's like saying AR or AK. It's a long, drawn out, whack battle that nobody ever wins because each one of them got something that everybody likes. They got some drawbacks and they got some sweet spots. 2 3/4 Mossberg 512 gauge, yes. Thank you, No Point Lorraine. Said, bless you for keeping us informed. I'm just trying because, the more that we don't talk about this stuff, the easier it is for them to take the right away from you. If we don't talk about it, look how many laws got passed and nobody even knew it. Look how many laws passed and nobody even knew it. Because ain't nobody talking about certain laws. Because we don't talk. It's not brought up. Be like, what do you mean? I'm going to be honest with you. When I heard, what do you mean they still trying to abolish the lynching law? What do you mean by that? I don't understand. Is this some kind of new language that I don't speak? Is this witchcraft? Tell me something. Tell me something. No, it's an actual law here's a law for you right here that, I'm past an hour. Okay, I'm going to say this, then I'm going. I don't know if it's still up and going, but in Kennesaw, Georgia, the law, if they wanted to really mess with you, the law is it's illegal not to be carrying a firearm in Kennesaw, Georgia. How many people in Georgia know I'm telling the truth? If they stopped your car and they found out they can't find nothing on you, you got your license, got your registration, but they really want to mess with you, they'd be like, where's your firearm? I ain't got no firearm. Get out the car. They could do that because in Kennesaw, Georgia, when I lived there, it was a law, and it might still be going to this day. It's the law that you have to have a firearm on you at all times. Annie Bistorff says straight up Kennesaw, Georgia law is still there. Look it up. See, nobody knows about these weird little laws. They sneak in on you. My fly family say illegal not to have a firearm as a homeowner. I told you I can't make this up, family. I lived in Georgia when I was like, well, I got that one covered. I ain't got to worry about that. That's right. That's right. It's the truth. Say why? Because no law enforcement back in the day. But in a way, it shouldn't be a law. But in a way, they got a point. Because it takes time for law enforcement to even get to you now in these days. But listen, by the time law enforcement come to actually really do their job, you know what they really are? They the cleanup crew. Let's keep it real. By the time the police get to most situations, it's time to write reports and clean up this mess, figure out what just happened, what already took place, pull them to that side and let's hear their side, pull them to this side, let's go in the house and see and collect evidence. By the time the police get to your house, everybody know it, they just doing a cleanup job. So nothing has really changed because it only take a few seconds for all hell to break loose on in your household or whatever you got going on. The criminal is not going to wait for the dispatcher to send out the squad car if there's any available, because y'all know around the holidays, any holiday, you're going to be waiting for a while. So I'm going to get off here. I said I was going to be on for an hour, and I actually did an hour and 4 minutes. I hope this helped anybody. Let me tell y'all something. Here's another thing. Exercise your right to free speech. Exercise your right to free speech because the terrorists are. Go and be heard. Go and be heard. If the terrorists can go down to the town hall in the middle of the city and sit there and tell everybody that they're going to make sure that they kill a whole bunch of certain kind of people, like I said, and I'm going to say it again before I leave, they're not white supremacists. Let's stop calling them that. They're terrorists. They're not supreme to anything, because if they were so supreme, they wouldn't have to make these horrible threats on people. They wouldn't have to enforce their authority all the time and so brutally. They wouldn't have to. If you're supreme, they wouldn't have to. The only people that's really supreme is the people that just sit back like, I don't need to do all that. I can make stuff happen now. I don't got to do all that. They're not white supremacists. They're terrorists. If we stop playing with words and giving them power over us, because when you call them a white supremacist, you're saying they're white and they're supreme to me. They're above me. I'm beneath them. If we keep labeling them that keep on actually building their ego. No, you're not a white supremacist. They're not white supremacists. They're terrorists. So, exercise your right to free speech and go down there, and while they up there down there stirring up their stuff, you go down there and be heard. I didn't say cause no violence or anything like that. I'm just go off and you go tell them that, yeah, we ain't gonna have y'all up in here with that garbage. Y'all can say what y'all want to. Don't come down here in our city with that. You know what? It's funny. It's funny how those terrorists only go to quiet little towns, nice little places, and stir up garbage. They only go to these nice little places. You don't see them marching down Main Street in Chicago. You don't see them in Chicago. You don't see them in Illinois. You don't see them in Detroit. You don't see them in Toledo, Ohio. They came to Toledo, Ohio one time. Do me a favor, go research it. Those terrorists came and marched down the street right over from where I lived in Toledo, Ohio. Those terrorists, the ones that like burning crosses in people's yard. Look what happened to them. You can't go to everywhere and do that. You come down in some places, man. We wasn't going for that, and they left. The police didn't have to make them leave. We was like, y'all ain't gonna do that here. They only go. They're like bullies. They're like bullies. They only pick on people that they know that ain't gonna say nothing. The ones that ain't gonna do anything. Right? So you're not just a terrorist. You're a bully. Cause you ain't going to pick on the ones that you know you gonna get some smoke with. You ain't gonna do that. You only want to go to the places where they're gonna just go home, leave us alone. No, y'all ain't gonna go to them one streets where the abandoned buildings and the abandoned houses at. You ain't gonna go down there. You ain't gonna go to the ones where it's corner store on every, or liquor store on every corner. You ain't gonna go down there with all that garbage. Those are terrorists. And the only reason I'm talking about them again today, because they had a lot to say about what I said yesterday. You're a terrorist. You're not a white supremacist. You're not supreme to anybody here. You're no different than nobody else. You're a terrorist. So, with that being said, I'm out. Everybody have a wonderful night. Live Farmer 73. Please, 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 please be safe. Be smart. I love you, and I'm out. Protect your rights before they're gone, because they working on that now. Peace.